Welcome to Clay's Cortex.
Man, I love that intro. It's so good. And I talked about in the intro podcast, but this is the introduction to the podcast. I talked about the guy that made this, Brett. He's an awesome guy, grinding. He's got some skills, and he's just trying to, refine himself along his journey and continue to get better at his musical skills. And so I would try to show him some love, man, reach out to him. But I just want to say thank you to the introduction, or to the after introduction podcast. So episode 2, technically, but the first topic we're going to talk about. And I have some other episodes recorded, kind of like a little bank, but this kind of hit me. And this episode might not be as long, but I just wanted to do this episode because I thought it was a good first one after last weekend. So last weekend here at the Kiln, we had a class here. It's a muscle system specialist course. I'm fortunate to host it here. My mentor took his time to fly out. One of my mentors took his time to fly out here from Ohio and teach weekend 1. He is the founder and creator of Exercise Professional Education, and this is one of the courses that is taught. It's a 5-month course. It's 1 weekend a month. And I thought about it, and I was behind the camera, kind of like I am right now, but I was behind the camera filming the weekend for him. And I'll film each weekend after that. But it was cool to, not to be cheesy, but look from the other side, right? I was looking on the other side of the lens, watching what was going on. And there was about 13 to 14 trainers here coming in to learn, to become refined and better at their craft of using exercise to help others feel better because they move better. And they were coming here to refine themselves so that they could help others. And I got to thinking about this word, and this word's been kind of in my mind and for a long time, here and there, and then there's times in my life when I focus on it more. But the word that I'm going to talk about this podcast, it's edification, right? So let me read that real quick, just the definition. So the definition is that edification, it's a noun. And it is, and what the definition says is, the instruction or improvement of a person morally or intellectually. And I'm going to cover this podcast from the intellectual side, okay? And some of the synonyms are education, teaching, instruction, schooling, and there's some other ones. But it's really rooted in education and other words related to education. And I thought it was really cool, and it kind of hit me over the weekend because during the course, I thought these trainers are here, exercise professionals are here learning to refine themselves and hear instruction so they can improve intellectually to help others, right? And that's just, I kind of use part of the definition for that. But I thought it was amazing, and it's also a selfless act. They're investing their time, their money, and their mind to help others so that they can help others feel better, move better, and so forth, and gather their thoughts so they can be known as somebody that's a true exercise professional. And I thought that was really cool. And edification stuck out to me because of the fact, so how I had edification explained to me was on my 16th birthday. I'll never forget this. It was on my 16th birthday. And my godfather, he said to me, he said, Curtis, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. And he said, that's a lie. He goes, that is a lie. And I was like, once he said that, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard that saying. He's like, but that's a lie. I'm like, wait, that's complete opposite of what I've been taught as a kid, right? Through all these little, as from the last weekend, it was called taping, things that we hear, look both ways when you cross the street and so forth. But I'd heard, from my mom, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And he told me it was a lie, and he got my attention. And he said, Curtis, words are powerful. Words are meant to edify, as in build a house. And it was cool because he gave me a picture, right? A visual picture of building a house, which is a positive thing. It's shelter. It's all these types of things. It provides warmth. And he said, your words should edify and build others up. And I thought that was really amazing, right? And so along this journey in my life, I've been thinking about, how can I build myself up so I can build others up? And it was cool because as I was recording over the weekend for weekend 1, these trainers or exercise professionals were here to build themselves up so they could help build others up. They were receiving instruction on how to improve themselves so they could help others. The main thing about the weekend was talking about identity and role. That was a big one that stuck out to me. And I've already been through the course. because I'm a certified muscle system specialist, and there are other ones around the country if you want some help with that. But I was like, man, it was talking about essentially identity and role. And he talked about value and how external things do not define your value and your importance potentially within this world. And I thought that was cool. And I think us as everybody have a tough time with that. Let me give you an example with exercise. Here at the gym, if a kid doesn't lift or somebody doesn't lift, say a weight, they have a goal of lifting a certain weight and they don't get it that day. Sometimes it really shatters them, right? And it really attacks their value or their identity, right? But it shouldn't, right? Which is tough. We should have goals, right? But we shouldn't let those things, those external things, attack our value or our identity, right? And it's cool because when it comes to edification, we should always look within ourselves and realize that, if I'm a trainer, that's a role that I play. It doesn't define my value or my identity. It is a big part of what I do, but it's not what my identity is wrapped up in, right? And I'm not going to let somebody else that doesn't want to train with me wreck my identity or my value. And that's a hard concept for us to work through, right? Because material things and all this kind of stuff impacts how we feel, right? These are real things. It gives us emotional, it sets off an emotional alarm, which attacks us and so forth. And I thought that really stuck out to me. And so I guess the big thing about this is a lot of people think that the podcast is just going to be about physical exercise and training, but the podcast is going to be about, which I think this is cool, how you can edify yourself, how you can improve yourself in all these different aspects of life, right? So the question I have going into this is, how are you edifying yourself? Are you giving yourself a chance to become edified, right? Are you looking within yourself and figuring out, how can I become better? What am I struggling with? How can I do better, right? So with exercise, for example, let's do that one first, or physical training, which is the first topic listed in this podcast in the description. How are you every day, or every other day, however, are you exercising to take care of your physical body so that you can do better, so you can do the things you want to do in life, in business, if you do business, or at your job, or as a parent? Exercise is so powerful, it can help you, and we're going to talk more about that, but there are multiple ways to exercise, right? We can go for walks, we can work out with weights, we can work out with bands, we can do swimming, there's all these different types of things, and why not do all of them? And then maybe figure out which ones help you the most, right? Because if you can help to edify or refine your body with exercise, it's going to help your life go that much better. And we all know that, right? We all know that. Exercise, nobody says exercise is bad for you. Nobody says that. Everybody says that exercise, or in this aspect, physical training, it's good for you, right? But if you let those tasks of lifting a certain weight, or, I didn't go to the gym 5 days this week, so I'm an awful person. Don't let those externals attack you and your value. You're on a journey. Take those steps, go forward, right? Set a goal and take a step every single day to go forward in that goal and achieve it as best as possible, right? If I look at business, I have a business, right? I look at my business as, how can I use this business to help build up and edify people? And I know that doesn't just happen physically, right? Obviously that happens physically. Kids get faster, people get stronger, people lose weight. But along that journey, there's other things that come along, like, hey, how should I eat? When I'll refer them out to a nutritionist. Or, hey, what are some things I feel like I'm not training very well this week? Well, how are you sleeping, right? How can you, from every aspect that partakes and feeds into you and your health and your physical training, how can you, from every angle, do better to help you physically, right? What are some things that each of us need to do? Take a step and look within yourself. What are some things that you need to do to become edified, to be allowed to be edified? Sometimes we get so stuck in our rhythms and our ruts, right? And I'm guilty of that. But how can we take a step back and look at how can we become better, right? How can we become edified? Or if somebody, in life, another topic, is telling you, hey, I really think, Curtis, I really think you need to work on these things. Are you receiving that edification? Those words to improve, or are you shunning it away? Most of us tend to shun it away or put our walls up, right? But what if you just took a step back and were like, man, maybe I do need to work on that? Or maybe you go to somebody else and ask them, hey, do you think I need to work on this? Be honest, right? You tell them, please be honest, because I want to get better, right? If you don't want to get better, that's okay. That's however you want to go about that. But if they say, yeah, I think you should work on that, then maybe think about the steps you've got to take to become improved in those areas, right? And also along with that too, when it comes to business, how are you refining yourself to do well in business, right? Everybody knows, like, nobody opens up a business to lose money, right? I guess some people do. I mean, I know there's nonprofits and there's profit-based businesses, but how can you use your business for good? How can you make money, which is not a bad thing? And a lot of trainers don't want to talk about that. That's another topic I talk about in the podcast, throughout this podcast. But it's okay to make money because you can use that money as a tool to help others, right? They're just tools. Just like in this gym, this squat rack, it's a tool. You guys can't see it if you're listening, but there's a squat rack to my left. You know, those are tools. I got dumbbells to my right. I've got air machines or Kaiser machines here. I've got other stuff on the other side. How can I use these tools to help people move physically better? How can we use the tool of money to better people around us or even ourselves, right? To leave a legacy. And then parenthood. I think this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, but with my daughter, right? I think about how she's going to be 2 in the fall. But how can I, as a father and with my wife, help to edify and improve her so that she can become the best that she can be? And I think the hardest part of that so far is, right, like realizing like how I was raised and how Jackie was raised, and maybe reflecting back upon maybe there's some things that we didn't like that went well and some things that we did like. But my mentor really opened my eyes this last weekend, but he's talking about this research and how he's finding, like, you know, from the age of essentially 0 to 4 or 1 to 3, there's certain times when essentially the body or the child, they become hardwired in how they handle things. And I thought that was super interesting. And so with me, I'm trying to figure out how can I communicate to her to edify and help her grow up well? How can I prepare her for the rest of her life? Because these years right now I know are crucial. So are the other ones. Not to say that like I'm only going to raise her from 1 to 4 and then just whatever, but how can I really zone in to set up this foundation to help raise her to be the best person she can be? And I think a lot of it starts with listening, right? Sometimes, like, I'm talking right now, but I tend to observe, right? How I work is I like to observe and listen to people and then speak. And so for me to do this podcast, it stretches me. I think that this podcast is going to be an avenue to edify me. One, it's speaking well, and potentially helping to help others edify. And along this process, I'm looking forward to edifying myself from feedback from you guys and so forth. But I think about that is it's stretching me, and along that journey, how can I help her grow and be stretched and become edified on this journey? So again, edification. I just want to challenge you guys, but more so encourage you guys. Not challenge, like I'm not beefing with you, but to essentially challenge, I guess challenge you guys is a fine word, but essentially think about how can you become refined or edified? You know, is it, hey, I need some time daily to think through my thoughts, right? And some people might meditate, some people might pray, to think through your thoughts to become better, right? Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's just going for a walk and getting out in nature. Maybe it's, hey, I need this time to exercise because it helps me clear my mind so I can be better. That's helping you physically become edified, and then also mentally it's clearing you, right? So I just want to encourage you guys, what are you doing to edify yourself? How are you helping yourself to become a better version of yourself? By listening to instruction. And that could be by reading books, working out. Are you listening to others that can help you on your journey of becoming edified? So I hope this really helps you guys. Please give me feedback. Let me know what you guys think. But that is topic number 1, or episode number 2, technically, of Clay's Cortex. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to the next episode. All right, guys, have a good one.
Welcome to Clay's Cortex.